Hello and welcome everyone to the Friday, September 20th edition of the Contributor Comms team meeting. As usual, a reminder that we operate under a code of conduct, which essentially says to be respectful of your fellow speakers and attendees and generally be excellent to each other. At the beginning of the call here, we like to offer an opportunity for anyone who's on the call to introduce themselves. This is totally optional. If you don't want to, you just don't have to speak up. And also, I usually remember after this, but I'm going to remember now. This is a very casual kind of call, so if you miss a section and you want to mention something later, no problem. Just speak up or post something in the chat anytime. We're happy to work with that. So I will kick it off with the optional introductions. I'm Caslin Fields. My pronouns are she, her. I am a co-chair of the Special Interest Group for Contributor Experience, which is the parent group of this group. This group is the sub-project, Contributor Comms. And our goal as a sub-project is to make sure that folks within the contributor community know about the awesome stuff that's going on, like, well, we'll get into that. And also to some extent to make sure that folks outside of the contributor community know about the awesome work that contributors are doing. We do that using a variety of tools like social media, blogging, and other stuff. And we will go over updates on all of our current projects and active things today. Would anyone else like to introduce themselves?
I can. I am Chris Short. I am also the co-lead of this, or not also, but I'm a co-lead of this group, and I'm very happy to be here every Friday. Um, I work at AWS, been part of the project for many, many years now, and very happy to see you all. My pronouns are he, him.
I can take it now. I'm Fred. I'm part of this group for a couple of years now. I mainly work around the blogging side of things. I work at SAS, and my pronouns are he, him.
Welcome, welcome. Would anyone else like to introduce themselves? Totally optional.
I can go next. So, hey everyone, this is Avinash Tripathi. It's been a while. I've been in these calls usually because the timings don't match. But today I had to skip my dinner and I was like, yeah, I got the notification finally and I need to join it. So it's lovely to be back and hopefully I continue being back over here. So yeah, nice to meet you all.
We're glad to have you, but we also hope that you get dinner at some point. Anyone else?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Mayo. I'm part of the comms project and of course ContribEx and SIG Infra, and pronouns are he, him, and I work for Cubematic.
Would anyone else like to introduce themselves? Totally option. All right then. We're gonna move along then. There is one last housekeeping item, which is note-taking. So, as with many meetings in the community, we would like to offer the opportunity for anyone who would like to be our note taker today. The role of the note taker is to follow along with the discussion and write notes in the notes document, which have we shared that link yet?
You did, didn't you?
I think I
Yeah,
did.
we can do it
Okay.
again though. Yeah, it's entirely up to
Yeah.
you.
One more time. I'll do that. Yes, so the role of the note taker is to follow along with the discussion and take notes in the document that I just posted in the chat and which I am showing on the screen. And the purpose of this is so that anyone who missed the call today can take a look at the notes so that they get the important things that we discussed today. Would anyone like to take on the role of note taker today? All right then, I'll take over it then. Let's dive into our agenda. First off is messages of the week. So this section, the purpose of this section is we kind of have our own sub-project, which is a whole weird thing, where of folks who work with us who put together the last week in Kubernetes development newslettery thingy, which is a weekly newslettery thingy, also on a web page that kind of goes over things that might be important to contributors. So this is an opportunity for us to think through what's going to be happening next week and see if there are any messages that need to be sent out about that might also need to be included in last week in Kubernetes development.
Maintainer Summit, India.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sandeep, for crafting a social media post about that.
I believe even the CFP is open.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, one second, Castellan, sorry, just give me a second to read the transcript. Yeah, so the maintainer summit email was really tough to track because it was pretty long and it had like 12 links. It had like about 12 links in the email. And then I drafted it yesterday, and then me and Priyanka basically got on a live review session. So she was reviewing and I was correcting it at the same time. Because we had very short time, we were trying to go it out today. Like, but it was a good experience to work on. A bit taxing because the long email, and then I did not have access to post in the LinkedIn and buffer. So I got that access today thanks to you.
Which was very helpful because one of our things that keeps getting bumped down the road is that we need to update our buffer access. So that inspired me at least to go through and make sure that all of the social media shadows have at least access required access to post on buffer on all of our social media accounts. So there's an email coming as well.
So the one question that I have is that should we use the Gate contributors or should we also use the Kubernetes Twitter account as well?
Not for the Maintainer Summit because the Kubernetes Twitter account is more end user focused. So to reach basically the people that can actually attend the contributor summit, the Maintainer Summit, are more on the contributor Twitter account.
And Kathleen, the other thing that helped with the Maintainer Summit communications is that we got a very good handoff from you. When you set up this comp draft and doc, we got a very good handoff from you. So I basically had to clone the doc and then start editing it like that. So thank you for the initial hand holding.
Of course. I hope it'll be useful with the Maintainer Summit. Since they're going to be shifting some things around, I've been trying to keep an ear out for or like get an idea for like what's going on with the Maintainer Summit so that I can help guide you with the changes that'll be happening with that. But I haven't really heard anything. So thank you for taking that on and like going ahead and copying it and getting started.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Any other messages of the week that we know are coming this week? Something with the contributor summit. Oh, when do we know when the schedule for the Kubernetes contributor summit is coming out? Is that next week or the week after?
There's a it's in the doc. Give me a second. Planning doc, notes.
I'm gonna put it in that it's soon at least, and you can tell me what the actual date is if we have it.
I found it last time.
Will you find it this time?
Question.
Yes.
So I think before the schedule comes out, we'd have to send out the CFP notifications, no?
Correct.
This will, but usually content handles this, right? Well, not content. Yeah, doch, content.
Last time for Paris, at least, it looks like the comms team handled sending out the
Okay.
acceptances and rejections. So
Yeah.
we have the draft from last time, and Sandeep has been working on updating it for this time, which I still haven't reviewed yet. I apologize.
That's fine. I mean, I hope that we have the schedule ready by Monday, and I still need to review my part of this.
Yeah, so I think the drafts are ready. The draft for both the accepted and not selected, both the drafts are ready. So I've created two separate drafts this time and put it in our main doc itself. Okay?
Sounds good. And we were just debating on Slack how we're gonna actually send out all of the individual messages, but anyway, so yeah, so those I think come out, the acceptances and rejections come out next week, I think. So then I'm not sure how close to that they're gonna actually publish the schedule. Do we have a date or just
I'm
soon?
still searching for it. There's a date. We
Okay.
defined a date. I just can't find it in the notes because I thought we put it in the top of the document, but apparently we did not. It's in the comms emails. Inside
Yeah,
of
it's
the
in the
comms
comms
emails.
emails.
Exactly. There is
So the date, October 14th is the date for
October
the
14th.
Okay?
Okay.
It is
potentially
in the very
we
first.
publish earlier. Because I mean when we have the schedule next week, we notify the speakers, then we wait one more week to get back from the speakers, and then we can basically publish. Because the earlier we publish, the earlier we can ping people to become volunteers.
So should I say could move earlier in my warning to the LWKD folks?
Yeah. Schedule announcement October 14th. CFP notification September
So we are
29th.
preponing the date, Mario.
I mean, basically the CFP notifications will go out next week, which is then Monday the 22nd, 23rd. 23rd. So we are 1 week early. So we can basically potentially move the announcement of the schedule by 1 week. So it would be October the 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Noted. I still haven't reviewed the sessions of the CFP either.
Me neither. But I need to do this until Sunday so that we can talk on Monday about it.
So maintainer summit, contributor summit schedule, maintainer summit CFP contributor summit schedule, and maintainer summit in general as well, I guess. Um, any other important news in the next week? Oh, is the steering election voting is due next week?
Oh.
There was a reminder in this week's LWKD. Steering election is
This weekend?
9 days left. Was on
Okay.
when was it published? I don't know.
Voting closes September 29th?
The
I think
All right. I'm looking at the repost here.
steering committee election is September 26th deadline.
yeah, Thursday in AOE time. What is AOE time?
Yeah, what is AOE?
Anywhere on Earth.
Got it.
So the last place on Earth that leaves that day, that is the time. I
There we
really
go.
like it actually. I learned
Yeah, it's
about that
kind of
when I
great.
was a
Yeah.
election officer and big fan. All right, so Maintainer Summit, Contributor Summit, uh, steering election voting. Any other important community news that we need to make sure is highlighted in the next week?
No, nothing important, but we all need to vote. We all need to vote in Slack for the t-shirt design.
For
Ooh.
Summit. Yeah, if you're Summit staff, only Summit staff.
And it's done, right?
Yeah, I think that was called, I think they
T-shirt
called the
design,
vote.
T-shirt design is closed and done. We decided for design and same for the awards.
Yep,
Wait, you're saving what for the awards?
The
No, I
design for the
same for the
awards
awards.
is defined now. We have a design for the
Oh, okay.
contributor awards for 2024.
Cool.
Yep,
I thought
and
there
work
was
has started on the awards.
there was a post that was asking us to select whether we wanted a black color or a navy blue color or something of
Yeah,
that
but
sort.
that's just ordering for that's just the CNCF ordering stuff. I mean, and no one else beyond Summit staff is voting on this because it's just too big to involve everyone.
Right.
There were a good number of votes on it, so
Yeah.
I think they're probably good to go. But also, if you haven't yet, definitely do that if you're part of Summit staff. Good call out. Thank you, Sandeep.
Yes.
And it looks like it's going to be Navy.
Yeah, I was
Yep.
going for black, but the
I
navy
was
is good too.
rooting for gray. The second gray one, the
Really?
yeah,
Yeah,
the
those,
the
those did not
asphalt
get much
one.
love. Everyone in this call and who watches this recording gets a slight preview there. All right, I think we're good on messages of the week then. If anyone
Yep.
remembers anything, we'll come back to that and add notes. But let's go ahead and move on to our new items. Frederico, what's going on with the release?
Well, the release itself, I mean, it's fine. I hope, but this is more about some comments that and questions that we got from people joining the as shadows that I try to centralize and have this discussion here. So there's a certain appetite from people joining in contributing to talking about their experience, what they are doing, what's the status of the team they are working on, etc. So essentially, writing stuff around the work that they are doing as contributors, but framed within the process of the release cycle. I don't think that this is a bad thing. I think it falls, but this, I mean, this is part of the debate here, obviously. I think that this falls within the idea of making the resources available for contributors to share their own experiences. So I was thinking of setting something up with those interested, and perhaps write a couple of blog posts around how are things going at the beginning of the cycle, where are shadows coming from, what's your experience, what have you been doing, etc. So a sort of internal facing write up on what people are doing, which is completely different from the communications of the release itself, right? We have the mid-cycle blog, we have the release blog. Those are formal assets that are external facing and are a reflection of a public announcement from the team. This would be completely different. This would be more around what we have in Kates.dev. Contributors talking about their experiences, how things are. And I mean, this is the idea, and I want to make sure that this fits within the scope that we have, or if people feel differently about it, or have any additional ideas around this topic.
I mean, the question that I would have is So the idea would be that someone from comms approaches current release team members and asks them.
Not necessarily. I mean, not necessarily comms, because comms is comms for the release cycle.
Yeah.
This could be. I mean, imagine the enhancements team wants to make a short chat with all the shadows about the first 3 weeks. What have we done? How are we? What have you learned? How is it to work on this team, etc. This is one. Another idea. All the leads and or the shadows talk about how are things going until now, what's their path in this release, what have been the differences, etc. So it doesn't need to fall within the scope of comms, because that's like communications for the release. But I mean, we could obviously link and sync with the comms lead. But it would be more of contributors talking about what they are doing.
I like the idea. I think that it needs to be pushed by someone, because I don't think that the release members will do it by themselves.
I can push it. That's not the problem. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why I'm sort of having two hats, because what I did with the discussion was say, well, since we actually have the SIG ContribEx project, and specifically SIG ContribEx comms that has this under its scope, let me take the general idea, just discuss, and I shared the calendar meeting, etc. So this is an open debate, obviously. And if we can talk about it a bit, and then we can define as a team who wants to do something, and I'll assist in doing that. So I'll go with the teams, I'll go to the shadows and ask who is interested, and with that I'll have a more or less high-level plan. If we have 2, 3, 4 blocks throughout the cycle, and by whom, and obviously not everyone will be interested to participate, which is absolutely fine. I know some people, team leads and shadows are, others are not, and I will take that into consideration, because this is completely optional. This is just for those that would like to share their views on things as they go.
I'm all for it. I had a discussion recently with Kat about how originally I think this team, we thought that we would end up doing more alongside the release comms teams, but
Yeah.
that collaboration never really happens.
Yeah.
So I'm all for more collaboration with the release team
Yeah.
in many forms. This is one that I had never thought of, but sounds fantastic. I'm all for it. And one other, go ahead.
No, I was saying that I completely agree with you. I think that and I've been comms lead as well, so I can relate with that. I think that comms ends up being this actually also happens a bit with docs. So as part of the release cycle, it has a life of its own, but we should make the communication paths between release comms and contributor comms a bit more open. And I guess this is part of that goal.
Exactly. I was going to say that one thing I was discussing with Kent is that we, on our side, probably need to set up a process where we reach out to the comms lead each release cycle and get them access to our tools.
Yeah.
Because I kind of thought that that would be initiated from the release side, but it never is. I think we need to initiate it.
But we can, I mean, I think this is as good as opportunity as it will ever be, because I'm involved here and I'm currently release lead, so I can actually influence things in a certain way. I mean, by influence, I mean, if I help with stuff and remove all the hurdles that exist, things will naturally flow better. And in the end, we can look back in the retro, for example, and see what parts of what we did warrant a more structured approach going forward? What worked and what didn't?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to write in the notes for this. It's hard to talk and type at the same time.
No, it's
Yeah.
awful.
But yes.
Let me see if I go there and try something.
Federico to influence.
No, that sounds
I mean,
awful.
I have that in here. I was trying to
that remembers
summarize
that
your
book
last
of
comment.
How to Influence People and
I haven't read that book.
How to Make Friends. I think it's something like that.
How to make
Oh,
friends
I
and
know what you're
influence
talking
people.
about.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean it's
Book.
a LinkedIn staple. It's
That too. Very famous book. I was trying to put more in the yes there.
yeah. Yes, because I mean, people reading this will know that this isn't my answer because I generally never stay with a single word. This
is true.
Okay, I'll do something.
Read it and make sure they have the right access. But initiating this process, which is absolutely something we should do, but initiating this process where we give access to the release lead each time also means that we need to take away the release lead's access after they're done each time. So it would be good for us to implement to also keep our lists in check more regularly.
And I will also talk with the comms lead and explain the ContribEx comms group, etc., so that that information is there. So, and I will also discuss with them this idea. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. So I just wanted to avoid starting to work on something and then this doesn't make any sense. This is not the scope of that we're doing. So I think that that's not the case in general. Obviously, like everything else, reviews and suggestions will come when we have more stuff. But my next action will be to discuss this with the others in the release team, try to identify what people are interested in doing, planning it more or less, and then I will present that to the group while starting to work on a couple of articles in Markdown, etc., etc. And for that, we can also engage the SIG ContribEx comms people and members that we have, specifically Blogging Shadows, but not only. Anyone that wants to avoid. And that also helps with keeping the communication between the groups a bit at a deeper level.
Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect. Thank you.
Two conversations at the same time. But yes, I'm so in favor of us doing more release stuff. And thank you, Federico, for being an absolute boss as usual. And
thank you.
Get off. Glad to see
Thank you very
progress.
much. Yeah, I think this if this is well done, I think it could be interesting for everyone involved. If it's not well done, well, it is what it is. But
and it'll be better than what we were doing before,
exactly.
which was nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Excellent. Any questions, comments about us working more with the comms release folks and release team in general? Cool. We'll move on then. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, Federico, well done. Excellent.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I mean, I haven't done anything yet, but I'm glad that you like the idea, Sandeep.
Coming up with the idea.
You haven't done anything yet is the biggest oxymoron in the community.
Excessively kind, but okay, I'll take it. I mean, at the end of the week, I need some pep talk. So thank you.
I'm glad we can provide.
Yeah. Like the dude abides and you provide.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Great.
Let's see.
Because you are also the release lead, this is the best opportunity for you to bring a change.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
partially that was the idea, although um, the lead role, as everything else in this community, is more as a person that handles consensus in a way or another than anyone that enacts unilateral change. But bringing the topic to discussion, I think it's a beginning, and in that I think I can help.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. You have done something already. The most important thing, in fact, I would argue. All right. Let's move on then to our updates and big wins section, which is about new contributor orientation. Yay! So the first one here is that the new contributor orientation meeting for the More Americas Friendly Time happened. Thank you very much, Chris, for joining. If you would like to share your thoughts.
No, I just think it went incredibly well for the first time out. You actually have a very good speaking voice too when it comes to that, so well done there. Um, there's a lot of questions, and I think we got most of them answered correctly without much issue or too much explanation. So yeah, overall great first time out.
Correctly. As
Right.
correctly as one can.
Right. Right. We answered them well. That's
I
better.
think so. I think they were answered well as well. There were
Yeah.
no issues with answering them, which I was very glad about.
Yeah. It wasn't like I had to jump in and write some long thing.
Yeah. And agreed on the comment that it was really good and engaging, and we got lots of questions. We actually went 10 minutes over,
Mm-hmm.
which I permitted intentionally, and answered a few more questions, which was wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, it was also good that a lot of folks basically were there and could jump in questions that were specific to their field.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some org members also joining.
Yeah. It was
Yeah, quite a few.
it was awesome, I think. I mean,
So very happy with that initial session. I was kind of hoping that there would be more people on it, but for a first session, I'm kind of glad that there weren't.
To be honest, I think that let's take it's 35 people in the call. Let's subtract like 7 or 8 people that were org members. So we are at 27 people for not a long, yeah, pre-notification time, given to the amount of people that we have as contributors or as org members. That's already close to like 0.5% or something like this in total. So we could potentially enhance the project by 0.5% if people stick around.
Something like that. I won't check those numbers, but
yeah, no,
it
public
makes
math
a
do not lie.
difference regardless.
Uh,
Yeah,
and even
so
if one person stays, it's good.
yes, exactly. I actually got a question from someone who had attended later through internal work chat, actually. Someone from Google had attended and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, I attended the new contributor orientation and want to learn more about contributing." And I was like, "Hello, welcome, thank you."
Mm-hmm.
And they said they learned about it from LinkedIn. So
That's
also
awesome.
interesting feedback.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And then there was also the new contributor orientation APAC and EMEA session, which happened and sounds like it went well, although there were some hiccups.
I mean, the
Entirely my
main
fault.
the main issue that we had were basically to recap, we couldn't start a Zoom meeting, and apparently I had the right credentials to log into the account, just the email address was wrong.
It happens.
uh,
The issue to clarify is that when you set up a Zoom meeting, there's a bunch of checkboxes about the different settings for the meeting, and one of them is allow attendees to join anytime. So if you don't check that checkbox, then the host has to start the meeting. And I really think that there should be a way for you to put in the host code to claim host in order to start the meeting, but apparently there isn't.
Yeah.
So I had to go in and check that checkbox, but it happened at 1:30 in the morning my time, so I didn't do that in time. So
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Yeah, basically the other topic that we wanted to raise on this is we sent out some comms, but mainly for the via the contributor Twitter account, but only American people can currently approve tweets for all of the accounts, and that's, I think, the main challenge that we currently have is that if we figure out critical communication, and the good thing is I already took this into the critical communication script. That if something time critical happens, and let's be honest, this is not usually the case, that we have at least someone from APAC or EMEA side that also can at least give a plus to publishing things.
And Sandeep.
Yes, I just wanted to add to what Mario said because, like in the buffer tool, I set up drafts yesterday for the communications about to maintain a summit, and then I was afraid that what if you are not around, there would be no one to approve it.
Yeah, this is something that I've been calling out for years that we need more approvers, but we were really hoping to recruit someone with extensive knowledge of social media who we could just like welcome to the group. Here you go. Because at least I was not sure how to train people to take on the responsibilities of running social media accounts for the project. So
Yeah.
we've been doing a lot of work on that with creating the sensitive comms guidelines, the Kubernetes IO guidelines, and now we've got you, Sandeep, and Arvind and Arpit all as social media shadows. Arpit has been doing really wonderful work with like suggesting things to do and reviewing things and stuff, but just having him alone as a shadow was really difficult to figure out what the path needed to be to make sure that he was ready to take on the approver role. But I think now with all three of you, you can kind of help each other create projects, review each other's content, and that'll help you all get up to the point where you can approve. So I think we're in a relatively good spot here where we can fix that. And also, Mario, since you've contributed to the documents around the sensitive comm guidelines and Kubernetes IO, I wanted to ask you if you wanted to go ahead and become an approver for those types of things. You've handled crisis comms in a couple of very sensitive situations
Yes.
lately, and I know you can do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't I would not mind doing it to also to review, and I think then we have a good coverage. I mean, across the globe, because basically early hours for the Eastern Hemisphere is still like evening in the US, so this would be covered by all of the US folks, and afternoon and early European things then basically we can handle from Europe. And eventually, when the shadows take over the approval roles as well, then we are globally covered. I think the only thing that we are missing would be Japan, but I think Japan we can still handle from a US point of view.
Doesn't Japan have like Line or some other social network of some sort? Same with China, right? Like, I feel
Yeah.
like those two countries have their own socials. Something to
When
think
I was
about.
when I was
Probably.
there for a meetup, everyone was posting on Twitter at the time about it.
Okay.
Um, and it looked like they all had some kind of like tweet deck kind of tool that they were all using.
All that's gone
Um,
now.
yeah. I don't know if it
Oh,
was TweetDeck or a different tool that did similar things, but yeah,
TweetDeck was so nice.
it was
Mhm.
nice. But I like that call out about, let me get some notes here, so I'll be a little slow. Social media approvership in different time zones. But I'm thinking I could reach out to some of the Cloud Native Japan community members and see if we can get someone who would like to join our group from there. I also speak Japanese, so I'm down to help with this if they need some help. So I could reach out and ask if we could get someone from Japan. Good to do recruiting from the group, and it would help with our time zone issues.
Yeah, big time.
Yep.
Yeah, Chris, I just checked it. Line is the
Line. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
biggest one. Then there's YouTube, and then there's Twitter. But the difference between Line and Twitter is only 20 million.
Oh, only 20 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Line
it's
is more like WhatsApp, right? I use
Yeah.
Line as well for my more
so
Japanese related endeavors, but
Right.
yeah, it's
I knew something was out there. Yeah.
yeah. So Line is 95 million users, and Twitter is 67 million users.
Population of Japan is 123 million.
Yeah.
So that's
So
pretty good coverage.
yeah. So I think we are good with Twitter for now.
hmm
I know. I just want to save us another platform.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that, to be honest with you, at this point. The fact nothing has emerged as a solid replacement is disconcerting.
Yeah.
People stick to habits.
I know.
Yep. That's a whole discussion for in 12 minutes when this meeting ends. All right,
Yeah.
so we do have 12 minutes left. Let's hop into the board and see if we can go over at least a few things there. And like I said at the beginning of the call, this is casual. If you have any questions at any point, feel free to drop them in chat or unmute. Always welcome. So we are now going to hop into the board, starting with ready for review. Guidelines for usage of Kubernetes IO Twitter.
I have comments. I need to move them in. The
Okay.
problem was that I was pretty busy this week because the CSI drivers from a vendor went away, and we needed to fix them. Or we provided an emergency mirror, and this took basically a couple of days for us.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Is there anything that you want announced about any of that stuff going on?
No,
Probably
it's
not
not.
yet.
It's not anything that we do is not official. There's the only thing that we have is Ben wrote a big comment into this that the main issue is that nothing has been published to the new registries
Oh,
from
geez.
the cloud provider side, and nobody knows who's actually the owner that of the repo that went away. And
Hmm.
yeah. And it's provider
Ouch.
specific, right? We moved all of the provider specific code out of the core project for a reason. So
Yeah.
I think we should not communicate about this in any way because this is only sensitive.
Congratulations if you're watching this recording. Getting the inside scoop on things. This is why you contribute.
Right.
Mario,
Yes.
I think I gave you a couple of feedbacks as well.
Yeah, I saw them. I have not reviewed them yet, and I have not worked them in because I was busy this week.
I also wanted to call out, thank you very much, Sandeep, for taking a look at that and offering comments. I saw also that you had offered a bunch of them, and I haven't gotten to review them yet either, but I really appreciate you taking the time to look through it and carefully like suggest things. Thank you so much. All right. So that's moving along-ish as things in open source do. Uh, so next thing is SIG architecture, which is Federico. Federico, if you could try to give us your best overview of the SIG spotlights,
Yeah, I
we
mean
can use your Slack message as a guide so that we can go quickly.
yeah. So yeah, one of there's one that's already ready to be published. I have to bump let me go into the what I wrote in the channel, because yeah, it's the SIG architecture enhancements. I bumped the publication date for next week because it didn't get reviewed on time, but it's ready to go. The API governance video interview is still in the transcription process. This requires an amount of time that I really can't commit myself right now. It needs several hours of work after even using automated tools. So anyway, this is out there for the taking if anyone wants to have a go. But otherwise, I'll start after the other one is published. Let me see. SIG scheduling, the PR was opened, and it was also bumped for next week because it wasn't reviewed. It didn't got the approval on time, but that's also done. The SIG etcd, the update is that the markdown conversion was done, so I'll share it on the channel. Still nothing from SIG security as far as I know. And the rest, I mean, I could go on, but there are people here that can update it, like the deaf and hard of hearing working group from Sandeep. There is movement there, but I'll leave that up to him and the others to pick this up.
Sandeep, would you like to say anything about your blog? I'm excited about that one. I know the
Yeah, me
deadline that
too.
you had hoped to hit is coming up fast, so we might miss it.
Yeah. So I think Markdown is completed, and then Federico had
Yeah.
like a few final reviews. Like he wanted me to make some minor changes. I think I'm hoping to get this done in the next 1 hour. My plan
Perfect.
was to my plan was to do it yesterday, but then the maintenance submit comms took up a lot of time yesterday.
I understand.
And yeah. So I think Federico, will you be available in the next 1 hour?
I'll likely be driving. But if you send me something, when I'll drop in my seats, I'll get back to you. And I'll tell me one thing. I think there was a mention of a deadline. Would opening the PR as soon as possible with the publication date for next week be something useful here? Because I think that just to be clear for everyone else, the markdown, it's done. The content itself is perfect. This is just a matter of opening the PR and getting the approval. I don't expect a lot of changes. So I can do that later today with a publication date of, I don't know, the 26th or 27th next week. Would this be okay, or would it miss the deadline that was mentioned?
We want to do by 24th.
24th. So it's fine. I can put the publication date of 24, but we need to mobilize so that we can get the approvals, because that's out of my hands. So I can open up the PRs today with the publication date of 24.
Yep, and we can try
Yeah.
to ping some folks and see if we can get it to happen.
Feel free to ping me. I can review very quickly.
I'll drop the link on our chat, and then we can also ping some of the usual suspects there.
Because there's an international day that this kind of aligns with that Sandeep wanted to align.
Yeah, I understand that. I know. I remember
that
it's actually part of the interview as well. So yeah.
The
Um,
International Day is actually 23rd. So if we can
Yeah.
get on 23rd, it's wonderful. But if not on 23rd, maybe 24th will also do.
23rd, it's Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do it. It's just putting a date there. If we can make it approved by then, fine. I'll do 23rd. If we can't, we'll bump it for 24th. So expect an email, a message from me on Slack with the. This will go into website as well, right? It's website and contributor site because this sort of. So I'll open those.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Go team.
Yay.
All right, steering spotlights. Questions doc is in progress. Is Arpit on today? No. But it looks like there's some progress being made there. SIG docs, no answers yet. Arpit has a whole bunch of these. Keep CTL, he's holding off until he's got some of the others done. SIG Infra, Akansha. I think Akansha had decided not to continue working on that one because they were in kind of a crunch period for Kate's Infra. And then,
Yes.
yeah, so you might want to update that one, Federico. I think SIG Infra is currently back on hold.
Again.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then the SIG Spotlights list. I saw that you had opened that PR.
I think that one.
This one merged, yeah.
It's merged, yeah.
Yep. And then the policy working group spotlight, Arujval is interested in taking that on. Arujval, you're on. So did you want to make any comments about the ones you're working on?
I did got a response for that one, but then Federico mentioned that there were three authors, so there were three people involved, and the answers are not that long. So he told that I have to elaborate. They have to elaborate more on the answers.
I mean, it was just a comment, and it's not a requirement. So you asked for opinions, and I mean, I mentioned that, but it's fine if you really can't go back and have a bit more. I'm not I'm not opposed to pushing it.
I mean, I did ping them, but they are not, I mean, very responsive to that because I have waited for like 2 or 3 weeks. So
But but you got my point, right? It's that
yeah. No, you are
it's
right.
very heavy at the beginning where people are presenting themselves. I did this, I did that, and then the parts around the topic are very telegraphic. That's not my only thing. But I mean, maybe it's a style thing, and it's just me. I write long paragraphs, so maybe I'm not the best person to judge.
My philosophy on blogs is also a blog that's done is better than a blog that isn't. So
Yeah,
if we're
correct.
getting stuck
Yeah.
on it, we might as well just go
Yeah,
ahead and
move it.
publish
I
it.
mean, if you can't get anything done, it says. I mean, it's if it's as the best that it can be, then it's perfect. Let's go on.
Okay, then I will convert it to Markdown.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arujval, for working through it. You've been doing such a great job with that, with all of your blog posts. And yes, Sandeep, we are at time, but go ahead.
Yes, just one thing I wanted to add. Federico, this Slack message is very beautifully drafted, and thank you for the flashing new icon. That is a very, yeah, it catches the attention.
Maybe it's I struggled with it a bit. Maybe it's too excessively visible. I thought that some people might feel it a bit aggressive, but I mean, if you think it helps, I'll keep at it. Yeah.
Hey, I like the Blink HTML tag from the 90s.
Yeah, it's the blink tag. Exactly. That's what I remember.
I do love to see the updates when they come up each time. And we do often kind of review them for ones where folks are not in the meeting. But I usually don't show it, and I think I'm going to start showing it like this. So Thank you very much, Federico, for starting this process. It's really helpful.
Yeah.
Excellent. That is very like, yeah.
Wonderful. And we are a minute over, and since I'm already disconnected from the board, I'm just gonna go ahead and not go back to that. And cool. So any beyond last minute items? I want to give folks a chance before we stop the recording. All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining today. I'm going to turn off the recording now. We'll say goodbye to our friends on YouTube. Bye, YouTube.